Hey, Roboctopus here. I have never made a video like this, so you'll kind of have to bear with me. I wanted to do a quick video to show you how to slice samples and get them prepared and sounding halfway decent in LSDJ, because people ask me about that a lot. So I'm just going to take a drum break and we're going to cut it up, and we're going to do a couple things to it and see if it sounds decent at 4-bit resolution. So I have a drum break here. This is Norman Cook, also known as Fatboy Slim. Drum break. Back in the 90s, he put out a sample CD called Skip to My Loops, which is pretty great. It's full of like old school drum breaks, and they're all organized by BPM. You can find it for free on archive.org. And if you want some old school vibes, that's an easy way to grab some. So I have one here. It is was listed as 104 BPM, and you can see I'm using Audacity because it's free. It's got all the tools that you need to chop samples and make them sound decent in LSDJ. It's kind of like a blunt force tool, and it's easy. It works. I like it. It also auto detects the BPM when you load something in, and it's pretty good at doing that. And we want to say yes here, 103.98, sure. And when we do this, you can see that it's going to show us that our drum loop, not loop, but our break here is one measure. It sounds like this. So the thing that we want to do is when you put something in LSDJ, it's going to crush the bit depth down to 4 bits, and that kind of bit crushing. The first thing that goes is you're going to lose any kind of like dynamic range. Any quiet parts of your sample are going to turn into noise. So what you want to do is try to maximize your volume. And what I do is I just compress compress it a lot. I've got a pretty extreme compressor setting here. And I wouldn't do this normally to audio for other purposes, but you know, this is Gameboy music, so it's fine if it sounds kind of bad. So I'm gonna squish it to this, and you can see clipping is fine. I actually like to get a lot of the samples clipping as much as I can. So this is probably going to work well, I think. However, once you start using the LSDJ patcher program, let's clear this kid. If your volume is really spiky, especially at the beginning of a clip, it will distort the LSDJ patch program, and it does not sound good. So actually, this seems sort of counterintuitive, but I'm going to boost everything like I've done here till it's clipping, and then I'm actually going to back off the volume. So -4. So I'm looking for, you know, maybe some red is okay, but not completely clippy. So maybe just ease off that a little bit. And then once we put it into the patcher program, we can boost the volume back up. So I think that's going to be okay. So like I said, this method is going to give us a drum loop, a drum break that is going to be set to the BPM of 104. That does mean that we're going to compose something in LSDJ at that BPM. If you want a different BPM, you can go down here and change the tempo, you know, to whatever you need. And then, like I said, we've got the loop. I'm going to cut it into 8 pieces. That's going to be like 8 eighth notes in LSDJ. So the easiest way to do that is make sure you've got snap enabled. So I'm just going to snap it to the eighth notes. I'm going to slice it. Work with me here. So 8 equal slices. And just to make this easier, I'm going to put them all onto their own tracks, because Audacity will let you export tracks as individual files. So let's do this. And I'm just doing Control X, Control V. So now we have everything on its own track. Go to Export Audio. Make sure you've got multiple files checked, and then LSDJ is mono, so mono. Export, ta-da. So now I've got the 8 individual hits here. They're going to sound like this. So now we're going to put them in LSDJ. Cancel. So you're going to use LSDJ Patcher. Sorry, I don't know if this is the latest version, but it's going to work for us. So just make sure you load your ROM. Go to Sample Kits. Let's see, clear the kit. So we're going to add the samples. And they always sound kind of bad. 4-bit, ultra compressed, bit shifted kind of garbage, but it's going to sound better once we put it into LSDJ. 6, 7, 8. You only get 3 characters for the names of the kits. It looks confusing like this, but all you've got to do is go to rename, which is a right-click option. So once we have them in here, like I said, I had you lower the volume in Audacity, but once you get them in here, I pump them up, because you want to maximize the volume to combat that noise. This part of the process is always kind of rough because it does not usually sound good here, but it's going to sound better in a minute. Let's boost the heck out of it. Beautiful. I'm just going to rename these. I've been using this program for years and just found out recently that there were right-click options. You can right-click and just rename things. It's like we live in the future. Before I found this out, I would carefully name all the files, but this is a lot easier. Also, right-click options, replace, delete, and duplicate are super handy. And then I usually just put the BPM of my kit as the name. So there's that. Save the ROM. Yes. Oh, this is something useful to know. You can leave the patcher program open while you're running your LSDJ ROM, and if you need to go back in and make changes, let's see, like change the volume or the pitch or anything like that, you can do that once you close out LSDJ Patcher. I don't think you can make changes anymore, so I usually leave this open, then open my emulator and test to make sure my kit sounds good before closing out LSDJ Patcher. Let's see. No. Kits. Okay. And like I said, this method means you need to have your BPM set to match your breakbeat. So 104. And you can see it's playing pretty seamlessly between the two. And once you do that, you can go in and start messing with it. Since we boosted the volume so much on the samples and compressed it, you're gonna have a much better volume than the stock sample kits that come in LSDJ. That is how I do kits like this in LSDJ. And then, like I said, you can just go back to your original kit and make the same thing just in different BPM. And you can just make a bunch of kits to suit your BPM needs, or make them, for each song, however you want to do it. But if you want to start adding in other samples that play at the same time as the drums, like synths or vocals or anything, then you do need to start thinking about EQ and compression of the other samples to make them sit in the wave channel mix at the same time. And I might do another video to go over how to do that in the future. But hopefully this helps somebody.